Hello, this is Prithvi Nagamanivil, and today I'll be discussing a study strategy that I've started to use in the past few weeks. This strategy is interleaved practice. So today my presentation will be covering what is interleaved practice, how does it work, its applications and benefits, and its generalizability. So what is interleaved practice? Interleaved practice is a learning technique involving randomly switching between related topics rather than focusing one at a time. So how would it work? For example, if I had 3 chapters to study, chapters 11, 12, and 13, blocked practice would involve spending 2 hours on each of these chapters, then attempting the practice exam. Whereas interleave practice would involve studying chapter 11 and then studying chapter 12 and practicing problems at random from chapters 11 and 12. Then studying chapter 13 and doing practice problems from all 3 chapters at random as well, and being able to fill in the gaps of your knowledge and connect information from all 3 chapters. And on day 4, you would do the practice exam, at which point you would have a solid amount of experience applying and using the concepts that you learned from these 3 chapters. So specific research examples that kind of talk about the benefits of interleave practice include the study conducted by Shea and Morgan, in which is an experiment in which participants were required to memorize different movement patterns in order to knock down walls in a pinball-like machine in certain orders. The group that learned through blocked practice repeated each movement a few times before moving on to the next, and the group that utilized interleave practice learned each movement in a random order with repetition of skills every couple trials. So although the participants in the blocked practice trials performed better at the end of the day, participants who were told to come back 10 days later repeat what they had learned, and the participants who use interleave practice performed far better than those who were told to recall when they were told to recall random movements. The participants who use interleave practice performed much better than the block practice participants. Another study includes the study by Rohrer and Taylor, in which participants were told to learn math formulas to calculate the volume of an object. So again, they were split into interleaved groups and blocked groups, and the interleaved group ended up performing 63% better in that they answered 63% of new questions that they were given a week later in comparison to the 20% from the blocked group. So my application of interleave practice included studying for my organic chemistry exam. So my learning goal was to memorize reaction mechanisms to complete my practice final without needing to look at my notes or reference the internet or anything like that. So essentially how I went about it is that rather than learning each type of reaction for an hour and moving on, as I previously had done, I decided to learn 2 reactions, then give myself a random problem related to the first reaction mechanism. After learning the 3 reaction mechanisms, I would then practice different problems from mechanisms 1 and 2, and this helped me compare and contrast the different mechanisms and allowed me to more easily predict what reagents and reactants will lead to specific reactions. So interleave practice helped me achieve this by testing my recall while studying so I could understand key similarities and differences in the reactions I needed to memorize for the final. So after studying the 3 reaction mechanisms necessary, I went back and practiced random problems from each chapter out of order. So this helped me pick up on specific reagents that would lead to specific reactions. In comparison, my previous problem was applying my knowledge of specific reactions to a random practice problem. And as the information I had learned through block practice seemed overwhelming, I was extremely stressed on the test, and I wasn't able to remember the information I needed to. So the problem was that I had no practice applying the concepts and recalling previous chapters in order to identify these patterns. So the benefits that I just talked about included comparing and contrasting different mechanisms and being able to apply concepts in order to perform better in stressful scenarios. So interleave practice is very generalizable. As I just discussed, the 2 experiments of the pinball machine and the math formulas, those involve concepts of motor skill learning and concrete information learning. Another type of learning is inductive learning. And in an experiment conducted by Cornell and Bjork in 2008, participants were told recognize artists' painting styles by being shown their different paintings. So in the blocked style, they were shown the same artist paintings continuously, while in the interleave style, they randomized the presented paintings. And the interleaved group performed better because they were able to connect the dots and analyze patterns rather than just memorizing one art style. So it's extremely generalizable to students with different schedules and different learning abilities as well, because it incorporates distributed learning. So all it requires is some goal setting and some planning, and it would prevent students from being overwhelmed. And it also induces cognitive thinking and problem solving skills. So rather than just regurgitating information, it would have students truly understand the information that they're learning.